And one of the major reasons I'm going to run again is because I want to serve with our guest tonight. Would you give a rousing Connecticut welcome to the President of the United States, Barack Obama?
That was good, man. Hello, Connecticut. Hello, Stamford. Oh, it is good to be back in Connecticut. Thank you so much. Everybody, please have a seat. Have a seat. Relax for a second. I'm just warming up here. I'm going to talk a little bit about this guy in a second. Let me begin by just acknowledging some wonderful public servants who have just been serving their constituencies with great distinction for, in some cases, a lot of years. First of all, Congressman John Larson's in the House. Where's John? There he is, John Larson. Congressman Chris Murphy. Chris. Congressman Jim Himes. Yes, sir. This is Jim's district, so he's got the home court advantage. Attorney General Richard Blumenthal. And Mayor of Stamford, Daniel Malloy, is in the House. Well, I can see this is a feisty crowd. What are you guys eating? What are you? You don't know yet, huh? It's a surprise. All right. It is great to be back in Connecticut. It is an honor to be here with and for your outstanding senator, my great friend, Chris Dodd. Now, here's the general rule of politics. When you're president, you're not supposed to pick favorites. But I have a confession to make. From the moment I arrived in the United States Senate, Chris Dodd was one of my favorites. And contrary to what Chris thinks, it's not his good looks. Jackie may like that. That doesn't move me. It's the fact that he's someone who believes deeply in the core ideals of our country and the nobility of public service. And he's lived those ideals from the moment he joined the Peace Corps as a young man through his leadership in the Senate today. He has never lost that wonderful quality that's all too rare in Washington. The quality of taking his work seriously, but not taking himself seriously. A man of good humor and a good heart. And that's why he is liked and respected, not just in the Democratic caucus, but across the aisle. That's why he's so effective, and why over the past 3 decades, his name has appeared on some of the most important pieces of legislation that Congress has produced. Today, every American who can take a leave from a job to care for a newborn or a relative who's sick, they can thank Chris Dodd. Every young child who has early access to educational opportunity through Head Start, thank Chris Dodd. Every firefighter and first responder who is safer on the job because of the Fire Act and the Safer Act, they can thank Chris Dodd. Chris has been so good that you could excuse him if he decided, you know, well, I'll start taking it easy a little bit. I don't want to have to just work this hard. But that's not what he did. I don't know what, he's got some Energizer bunny battery in him or something, but this year he's kind of gone crazy. He's just gone wild. I mean, look at what he's done this year. There are few leaders who have been as busy getting things done in Congress as Chris Dodd. Just this year, led the fight to pass legislation that is helping homeowners keep their piece of the American dream. Then he helped pass a law that will stop big tobacco from targeting our children. Then he was there to pass a national service bill that will inspire another generation of Americans to serve their country, just like Chris did when he served in the Peace Corps. Then he wrote the credit card legislation that finally became law this year, a law that will stop credit card companies from ripping off the American consumer with abusive fees and rate hikes. And it's only 9 months in. It's just the first 9 months. And in between, tonight he's got his swimming trunks. He's going to go take the girls swimming at the hotel pool. So Chris knows how to get things done in Washington. That's why he's currently leading the fight on not one, but on two of the most important issues that we face today and two of the biggest priorities in my agenda. Before our friend and champion Ted Kennedy passed away this summer, and Teddy Jr. is here tonight, Teddy turned to Chris and he asked him if he'd be the one to shepherd health reform through the committee that Teddy had chaired. And in that role, Chris did an outstanding job, both leading and listening, incorporating Republican and Democratic ideas. And thanks to Chris Dodd's work and the work of senators like Max Baucus and others, we are now closer to Ted Kennedy's dream of health care reform than we have ever been. It will pass this year, in part because of the work of Chris Dodd. But Chris isn't just dealing with health care reform. He's also leading the fight to reform our financial industry so that we don't have another crisis like the one that brought our economy to its knees. Now, I know that there are a lot of hedge funds and financial institutions here in Stanford. We flew over by helicopter. We saw some of the housing around here. But I want to stress the urgency of this reform. I have always believed, and I know Chris believes, in the free market. And we believe with all our heart that the financial industry is essential to a healthy economy and the well-being of the country as a whole. And that's why we stepped in. And we continue to believe it was the right thing to do to step in to prevent a collapse in the financial sector that would have had far-reaching and devastating consequences for the American people. We came very close to a Great Depression. And so we had to intervene. But I think all of us can agree that as a country, we should never again be faced with such a potential calamity because of the reckless speculation and deceptive practices of a short-sighted and self-interested few. So I have to say,